Hello, adventurers. I'm Tyler.
And I'm Richard.
This is our podcast where we talk about Dungeons & Dragons. Welcome to True Strike.
Welcome to our session 0. To start things off, we wanted to tell you a little bit about ourselves. I'll start. My name is Richard. I've been playing tabletop games since I was a wee lad. I think I began with Dungeons & Dragons 2nd edition, and since then I have played everything from ElfQuest to Vampire the Masquerade.
And yeah, I'm Tyler. I've been playing D&D for probably about 3 years now, which really was my introduction to tabletop as a whole. Of course, video games and narrative stories and stuff like that. So I've had my fill of fantasy, but I've been DMing the last 2 years. 2 years this month, actually. And this has pretty much become my second life, so to speak.
Our idea of what we want to do with this podcast is to have a open forum where we can sit and discuss topics casually, like friends would around a table, where we're going to talk about changes in rules, 1D&D as it comes up, playtest materials, new books, character builds, and even do some off-the-cuff actual character exercising using those new rules to see how they are used in a practical sense, so we can get a better idea of, plans of how things are going and where the game is going in the future.
Yeah, we'd like to not only discuss new rules and such, but do a little short-term live play at the end of these episodes to give you guys an example of not only telling you how things are going to work, but giving an actual example in gameplay terms. And we're pretty excited about that, and we're hoping it's something others would be interested in as well.
Yeah, and today we actually have our very first topic of what we're going to talk about. We landed on something that we thought would be kind of fun, which is what everybody likes to talk about, which is what our favorite spells are. We both went through the spell list and chose a single spell for each level as our individual favorites. This is by no means a best in slot for each level, but more the spells that we as individuals love. To get things started, we're going to have ourselves a little game of rollies to decide who gets to go first. So we're going to do a little roll-off, and the winner of this roll will get to decide if they go first or if they go second. We're going to start with cantrips, I believe, and move our way all the way up to good old level 9 spells.
Yep, level 0 to level 9. You want to roll first?
Sure. I'll give it a quick roll. That is a 6.
That's a 5.
Okay.
Balls in your court.
So,
Nice.
I will go first.
Didn't expect that.
Yeah. We'll start with cantrips, and we'll just jump right in here, and I'll give you my pick of the cantrip. So I went with Vicious Mockery. As far as cantrips are considered, there's obviously a lot of options there, and there's a lot of utility. Vicious Mockery is definitely one of my favorites. I mean, what can possibly be better than actually physically harming somebody with an insult from across the battlefield? They could name this spell Burn with a nice big exclamation point, and it would still get the point across. Yeah, it scales. Doesn't scale that great, but
It's a cantrip.
As far as a good, fun spell, it is super fun.
Now, definitely agree with you. That's definitely a fun spell. However, in this case, I'll say the best and my personal favorite cantrip. It's Chill Touch. Come on.
Chill Touch.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So, we're talking one action. You create a ghostly skeletal hand in a space creature within range. 120-foot range for this thing. Cantrip, right? You grab this thing with this skeletal hand, ranged attack, so no save, which is wonderful. Just got to beat that AC, so you're talking this thing has legs even through, as enemies get tougher and their saves get harder and harder to, beat. you still have a really good chance of landing this spell on him. Not only are you looking at a D8 of damage, which does scale through levels. You add an additional D8 at 5th, 11th, and then 17th level. But the number one thing is that target cannot regain hit points until the start of your next turn. So if you land this on a troll, for example, one of its biggest things is regeneration. That can really, extend a fight and be the difference of a TPK or downing this thing in a couple of rounds. You completely negate that ability. Also, just a cherry on top, if the target you hit is undead, it has disadvantage on attack rolls against you until the start of the end of your next turn. Pretty good.
I can't argue with that. These are all really good things.
All right. And I guess we're going to alternate. Up to level 1.
Okay.
My first level spell. Healing Word. I don't know if we're going to have the same ones for any of these. I'm interested to see if that's the case. Healing Word, though, can save your party. This is one of my favorite spells all the way to a 20th level character. It's clutch from 60 feet away. You can get a downed party member back up, even if it's 2 hit points. You know what I mean? No matter what you give them, they are back into the fight, which is everything.
Well, it's very difficult to argue with your choice for that first level spell, mostly because that is also my choice for a first level spell. Healing Word is, if I'm playing a caster, even if I'm not the healer of the group, Healing Word always just kind of jumps out at me. The bonus action, the 60-foot range, just in action economy, at lower levels, at higher levels, like you said, this spell could be the difference between a combat going completely south or turning right around. If you've got a downed person that is 60 feet away from where the action may be, even getting them back up with 1 hit point, like you pointed out, can very much change the flow of battle.
Oh, it's huge.
Yeah, and it's just it's one of those spells that it's amazing that it's a bonus action, first level, 60-foot range healing spell that we'll see play in session 0, session 1, all the way up to deep into the campaigns.
And you mentioned bonus action. I completely glossed over that. Yeah, you could be an Oath of Vengeance paladin. Look at your downed ally across the battlefield. Get the heck up, bro. And bam, they're back up. And then you still can come in and land a melee attack with a smite on somebody.
Yeah, it doesn't take away the rest of your turn.
No, it's wonderful.
It just allows you to look over at your teammate, get them back in the action, and then continue on with your train and just keep going.
Yep.
And that's what it makes it very hard to pass up as far as first level spells are considered.
Completely agree. So what about third, Richard?
Well, we'll talk about third as soon as we get done talking about second level spells.
Oh my God.
So my second level spell is, again, one of those spells that every time that I see it on a list when I'm building a character, I just immediately start thinking about how I'm going to use it and how useful it is going to be, and that is Misty Step. Again, we're with the action economy. The fact that this can be cast as a bonus action. Sure, it's only range self, but being able to teleport yourself to an unoccupied space 30 feet away is insanely good. It's just, you can set yourself up for your entire turn if you want to make another attack. You can save your life, which I have done recently in a campaign where I found myself falling from a lighthouse, almost certain death, but then being able to just clutch straight over to a very safe ledge and not have to worry about dying an awful death from a 5-story fall. It's just one of those spells, like I said, whenever I see it on a list, it's so hard to pass up.
So this is the first and only time during putting together this list that I really had a problem. And that's because I was stuck between two very good spells. Ultimately deciding on one, but my runner-up was Spiritual Weapon. Because
that's a good one.
Having more consistent damage on the battlefield, cast at a distance even, you no concentration, you get that going. Then next turn you get your Spiritual Guardians, and you are just laying into, if it's single target, oh god, you're just demolishing them. But in one D&D, it's being brought down a little bit. Now requires concentration, stuff like that. And I have to look forward a little bit, you know? And since I was on the fence anyway, this led me to pick Misty Step.
Yes.
Distance of Self, which partners very well with things like, back to the Vengeance Paladin, if you've got your steed you've summoned, which while you're mounted on it, any spell that has a Distance of Self also affects the speed. So now you're riding on this thing, galloping towards the enemy, and next thing you know, whoop, you're gone. Well, it's because you're 30 feet behind them, and you're coming in with a full charge. You're ready to. Oh, it's wonderful. It's beautiful.
And I completely forgot about that use. Actually,
yeah. You need to get inside of a door or a building. You look for a little crack, and you're like, "Bye, guys," bloop, and you're just there. It's wonderful. As long as you can see it within that 30 feet, you're good to go. Unoccupied space, bonus action. It's wonderful.
It's just such a great spell.
Yes. All right.
Now we're at third level.
We're
really excited about being
level.
here. So,
all right. This one, probably across the board, a lot of people will agree with me. And if you don't, you're wrong. Counterspell. Third level, range 60 feet. As your reaction, you can cast this spell whenever you see a creature within 60 feet of you casting one. You just, no. If it's third level or lower, just automatic, boom, gone. It's gone. And, if it's higher, sure, there's a little bit of chance there. You got to roll a dice, but we love rolling dice. That's part of the reason we play this game. Bring on the chance. There's a chance it could work, and you could you could win the campaign based on this spell. It's crazy. The big bad is about to cast Disintegrate on your best friend, and you just look up and upcast. You get upcast and just bloop, gone. You've taken away their entire turn sometimes based off your reaction. It's glorious. How about you?
So, this is getting interesting with our lists because we have no idea what each other chose. And like I said, we were going with our favorites on the list, not necessarily the most powerful. But as I looked at the third level list, I had to find myself picking Counterspell. There are so many reasons, everything that you've already said. It is just one of those things that does something in this game that I love, which is completely changes the flow of everything that's happening. Because Counterspell can be that moment in combat or even out of combat. It can be that moment that changes everything that's going to happen, which is great when you really want to mess with your DM. Because they have this plan and they just need to get off this one spell, and then you ruin everything by throwing it in their face.
Right. When the party, their ally is on their last death saving throw, and you call out that healing word and you counterspell it at the last second and just you really stand out as a villain. So this goes both ways. It's great no matter what.
It's like I said, one of those spells that changes everything.
Completely agree.
And the fact that it's a third level spell is also pretty surprising, honestly. This is a spell that I wouldn't be surprised to see at higher levels, but to get it at a third level is pretty amazing. And like I said, depending on when you use it, can make a big difference. So,
and I think I completely agree with you on that. I think the only reason you get it as early as you do is just based on the fact that, most D&D campaigns probably don't go past 7th, maybe 10th, 11th level. So you want to, it's such a cool spell, it would suck to hold it until the very end. And you can't put it up there with spells like Wish that are just going to break the world potentially.
That is true.
So in a spell like Counterspell it can be counterspelled, which is wonderful. Wizard battles, it's Counterspell is not an end all be all, but it definitely leads to some clutch moments.
It's a good one. All right, so that goes to level 4 spells now, which I believe is me. So now we get to see if Tyler has chosen the same spell as me for level 4, which I don't know, because this one's kind of an out there spell. At least I think it is. But my favorite 4th level spell is Summon Greater Demon. 60-foot range, 1 action casting time. Concentration lasts for an hour. You utter the foul words, summoning a demon from the chaos of the abyss. You get to choose this demon's, type, which has to be a challenge rating of 5 or lower. And then it appears in the unoccupied space, and then it gets its own initiative. So this is a super fun spell because you are just dropping this demon onto the battlefield, which in its own is just epic. It's amazing. Sure. But I think my favorite part of this is at the end of each of this demon's turns, right?
I feel like I know where you're going. Having
to make that charisma saving throw. Now, the demon does have disadvantage on it if you say its true name. But if it fails, it continues to obey you. And this is where I think it is one of my favorite things, is because it's that unpredictable nature of what this demon's going to do. Is it going to stay on the field and continue to obey your commands? Or is it going to turn on your cleric that just happens to be standing next to it and waylay him upside of the head? Is that going to be great for your party? Not in the moment, no. But narratively, it's amazing. Just the ability for that unpredictable nature of a demon, which goes so great with warlocks in general. Not saying that just a warlock is going to be casting this spell, but
it's very thematic.
It's very thematic that the warlock would be the one summoning a demon and being all like, "No, don't worry, guys. I have everything under control. Nothing can go wrong in this situation." Right before everything goes wrong.
Right.
And I love it. And that's why it's my 4th level pick.
That, you mentioned you're surprised Counterspell is a 3rd level spell. I'm surprised summoning a demon onto the field that could potentially wallop your team more than the enemy you're fighting.
Especially that challenge rating
it's a
5.
4th level.
Yeah.
Well, by the time you're getting this, challenge level 5, you should be able to take, in a party of 4, you should be able to have it covered. But if it's coming at you shortly after you've summoned it, and you've still got all the bad guys up that you brought it in to fight.
Oh, yeah, this can go sour real quick.
That's where things get really scary. Or fun for the DM, things get a little both. So speaking of things getting crazy and game-changing moments and stuff, concentration for an hour, polymorph. My 4th level pick is polymorph.
It's a good one. That was actually my 2nd pick for a 4th level spell, and
not entirely because of like, I want to become a great ape or something. I'd be a druid if that's what I'm going for. Not even like, oh dang, there's a freaking a purple worm. Let me turn into a bunny and kind of let's just leave this fight. We got an hour. Don't stub my toe. We just run. It's fine. Just go. And you've escaped that encounter essentially. For utility, for party support, this is where I really like this. You've got your wizard on your team, your glass cannon. And they're getting low on health, and maybe you're not the healer of the group. But if you can turn your wizard into a big ape, they they're back in the fight with a vengeance. I mean, we're talking like full on King Kong running through there, smashing up people, taking the full hit point value of what they turn into is the thing here. You're not just healing them. You're giving them an entirely new pool of health that when that drops, they just revert back to where they were before. You're giving them like a second life outside of their own character.
And new abilities.
That's just fun at the table. And if you're the DM and you have a bunch of like, polymorph animals or minis or anything you're waiting to put on the table, you get to break them out. This is great.
Oh, yeah. I see the T-Rex over on that shelf.
Yeah. One day, we might get to use him. But yeah, that's my main reason for polymorph. Just an action to cast it. Like I said, concentration, that's a big deal. If it's on a willing creature, like I said, your party member or something, it's instant. You just do it. You just look at them and boom, they're polymorphed. Now you can do it to, aggroed enemies or anything like that as well. It's a wisdom save. You'd be surprised how often you can catch someone though. It's not a guarantee on an enemy, but it can definitely happen. Shoot, I guess I'm up for 5th level. We'll see if we landed on the same one for this one as well.
We're going to. I just feel
I don't know. I'm unconfident this time. I actually thought last time. Telekinesis.
Oh, we didn't.
See?
Okay.
Range of 60 feet, concentration 10 minutes, and basically, you gain the ability to move and manipulate things with your mind. Just a thought is all you need. When you cast a spell and as an action, for each round of the duration, you can exert your will on one creature or object you can see within the range. The main thing here is that you can take a huge or smaller creature, make an ability check against them using your spellcasting ability contested by their strength. Now, let's say it's a wizard. Let's say it's, a lot of enemies don't have, like big bads, don't have super high strength values. Maybe they're, high intelligence or wisdom or even constitution. Your spellcasting ability is probably higher than a lot of these people's strength. And if they lose to you, you can move them up to 30 feet in any direction, including upward, but not beyond the range of the spell. And now until the end of your next turn, the creature is restrained in your telekinetic grip. And it can be suspended midair. The big thing is here, it's concentration of 10 minutes. Every round, you can keep doing it. So if you have the big bad evil guy, Vecna, and you've burned down some legendary resistances, or use this to burn down their legendary resistances because they don't want to be restrained. What are they going to do? You hold them in place, and now they've lost to you over a strength check. What was he going to do? Vecna's not hitting the gym. He's got a strong mind, but you can't go anywhere, and you've got advantage on melee attacks and stuff against him. Like, this is wonderful.
So basically, you want to force choke Vecna.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
You've watched Stranger Things. Wouldn't you? And you can just keep doing this over and over again until you lose your concentration. And even if you get one round of it before that happens, you've put them in a bad place. Now your paladin or your fighter can go in and start landing many hard-hitting attacks, and they can't go anywhere. Yeah, what about you?
So yeah, I thought you were going to choose the spell that I chose, just because it is a fun little spell. My 5th level pick is Bigby's Hand.
Bigby's Hand.
Yes, which is just it's a very interesting spell. Is it super powerful? No, but it is a 120-foot range, concentration 1 minute. What really is cool about Bigby's Hand is that it's an object. It's a giant hand with an AC 20 and hit points equal to your hit point maximum, which gets kind of crazy at higher levels.
Oh yeah.
The cool thing is that you have multiple things you can do with this. Clenched fist, which means you can just punch the crap out of somebody with it. You can use it as a forceful hand, which is to push a creature 5 feet in the direction you choose. Grasping hand, you can use that giant hand to grapple somebody and restrain them. Imposing hand, you can just drop it down in front of you like a nice big wall to give you cover. I just like this spell because it's one of those really cool utility spells. It's got a lot of different things that you can do with it, and I think that makes it a super fun spell just to have in your kit, because you don't know when you're going to use it, you don't know how you're going to use it, but you know that it's there if you do need it.
I mean, you got to look at characters like Scanlan, for example, and he almost built an identity around that spell. There's so much fun and flavor you can have with a giant floating hand, like you're summoning, and it's just so fun and creative.
Yeah, there's just so much you can do with a giant floating hand. How can it not be fun?
Yeah, it definitely it's part of the reason we love this game. Is there it's there can be some nitty gritty and dark themes and stuff like that, but even if you're trapped in Barovia and you'll never see the sun again, and it's just dread for the rest of your life, sometimes you get a little fun, making a little big hand, give the big big bad evil guy a thumbs up, when you just why not? Also, just want to touch on this really quick. I mentioned that while restrained, you'd have advantage on melee attacks. Its attack rolls against the creature have advantage.
Oh, okay.
And the creature's attack rolls have disadvantage. The other parts are restrained are, of course, their speed is 0, and they get no bonus to its speed. And the creature has disadvantage on dexterity saving throws. All of that from being restrained by your telekinesis.
Okay.
Which is real fun.
We get it. Telekinesis is better than Bigsby's hand. All
Look,
right. Fine.
I am saying that, but it's okay. Now, if telekinesis had a big glowing hand, I think we would have come to the consensus.
I'm just saying, you could still grapple somebody with Bigby's hand,
Yeah, no, that's a good point fair.
All right, so we're 6th level.
Yep, back to not agreeing, I assume.
Yeah, and back to me.
Yep.
So 6th level has arguably one of my favorite spells, I think, in the game. It's definitely not what a lot of people would consider a super useful spell. But it is something that I think is very, very fun. And that is contingency. So
we did not pick the same one.
No, and I didn't think we would. Contingency is one of those weird spells I think that a lot of people look at and they immediately move on because they're like, I am not wasting a 6th level spell slot on contingency. I'm not even going to read the description because I already don't like it.
It's got some utility.
But it is a very, very cool little spell. It's a ranged self, duration of 10 days, which is amazing. And actually one of the things that they talk about in the description is a very good use for it. Is it going to happen every time in every game? No, but it's a really good example. But basically contingency is it's a contingency plan. You choose a spell 5th level or lower, and it has a casting time of 1 action that can target yourself. And then you cast that spell as part of casting a contingency. So you cast contingency and you cast that spell. So it does take 2 spell slots. But what you do is you come up with your contingency plan. So what's going to happen for this spell to take effect? And like I said, their example is a really good one, which is water breathing. So you could say, I want to cast water breathing as soon as I am engulfed in water or something similar to water. So if we're in a maritime adventure that is going to be more than 10 days at sea, and I am terrified of drowning, this is a really good contingency plan. I can make sure that if I do fall off this boat, I'm fine. I mean, y'all, you can worry about yourself, but I'm definitely going to be breathing underwater. And like I said, it's probably not a spell that a lot of people look at, but it is just a fun little spell, just because it allows you to plan ahead for something, which I like planning, I'm not going to lie. And having a contingency plan in place, I mean, that sounds good to me.
Yeah, I like the idea that you've got a healing spell prepped up and ready to go, and your contingency is that the moment I go down, this goes off, and then it's this moment where you're going down. Everyone's like, "Oh God, no, not Ricardo!" And then it's all right, I'm okay, and you're back up, and it's awesome.
For you see, I had planned to die.
Yeah. Not a day goes by that I don't prepare for the worst.
I constantly think about death, so I'm always prepared.
Right. And shoot, not only that, but I mean, what is it? The newer book coming out February 21st. Keys to the Golden, or From the Golden Vault. The new D&D anthology book. Heist. It's all heist. And the contingency plan is part of the prepping for a heist.
Oh yeah, I'm totally gonna turn this into Ocean's 11.
Yeah, you'd have to. It's required. God. All right. Now mine isn't nearly as fun, and just because of that, if we were awarding points, I feel like I would give you a point on this one. But I was going with my favorite, and even though it's quite expensive to cast, and you may know where I'm getting at now. Hero's Feast. Hero's Feast, casting time of 10 minutes, and it uses a gem-encrusted pole worth at least 1,000 gold.
It's
quite expensive. Yeah, you make whatever you want. That's the best. Okay, I'll get back to this. You bring forth a great feast, including magnificent food and drink. The feast lasts for an hour, takes an hour to consume, and disappears at the end of that time. You got to nom for the whole hour. You have to for it to work. And the beneficial effects don't set in until the hour is up, but up to 12 creatures can partake of the feast. That's your whole party, and then any tag-alongs you have coming with you.
It's pretty much necessary to classify it as a feast. You have,
for sure.
At least 10 people or more.
Yeah, of course. You can't just have like 10 pizzas and 4 people. That's not a feast.
It's a feast for someone.
Sure. At least one of those people is going to go home with like 6 pizzas. Now, a creature, up to the 12 of them, that partakes of the feast gains several benefits. They are cured of all disease and poison, which hopefully you're not poison going to this, but hey, it's great. You become immune to poison and being frightened, and make all wisdom saving throws with advantage. Huge. Also, your hit point maximum is increased by 2d10, and you gain the same number of hit points. So up to 2 to 20 additional health on your maximum, and it goes up instantly. You heal that, blah, blah, blah. The big deal there is, since it's your maximum, you can stack temporary healing on top of that. So if you've got an inspiring leader or anything like that, any way to gain some temp, maybe you have a spore druid or something, if you prep up for this, you're rolling into a fight like a tank. You're feeling like a barbarian on round 1 with an extra like 30 hit points or something,
Just stacked.
Yeah. And this benefits last for 24 hours. So you cast this at breakfast, and you're good until next breakfast. This is wonderful.
I mean, you say that, but I just have this vision of this massive sprawling castle, and right outside the big bad's door, the party has this feast just set up in the hallway. And they're like, we'll be in there in a minute.
Give us...
I'm really starving right now.
We got like 4 more minutes. If you want some, actually, you know what? Nah, you'd have to be there the whole time. Just, give us a minute.
We really didn't bring enough for you.
Yeah.
I mean, this, it's kind of, it's awkward now. Just let us have our little alone time out here before we come in there.
And I just like the idea of your players just going around and telling the caster what their favorite foods and drinks are. Maybe fig cakes remind them of home, and
Turkish delights.
Yeah,
nobody likes those.
Your cleric is setting this up, and they're like, "Ding dongs, I got you. Next, come on, let's go. You want some Fanta, orange? Got you. And then guess what? It's there, and you've got to eat it for an hour. So
You better choose something good.
yeah. You're not dipping into my zebra cakes. You eat your own shit. I guess I'm up for 7th though. We may choose the same one, but for 7th level at a range of 10 feet, 1 action to cast. I've chosen teleport.
Solid.
It instantly teleports you, transports you, and 8 willing creatures of your choice that you see within range, 10 feet, or an object, blah, 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 blah. You guys know how teleport works. You've seen things, you've watched things. It's like that, but with rules. You just, you know where you want to go, and you go there. Now, the fun part is you roll to see if you really do go there. You roll a D100. The GM normally does it. By the rules, the GM rolls it. I like to have the player roll it, because then when they inevitably end up, 10 feet under the earth and are jettisoned out taking bludgeoning damage, or in the middle of the ocean,
It's their fault.
it's on them, not me. But that's what's so fun about it. It makes sense, like if a player or character is very familiar with the area, or if there's a permanent circle that they've established there, or that a business has, you're extremely likely to end up there. Not even a problem. But if you're like, crap, we have to get across the country right now, and I've seen a picture of this place drawn on the back of a stall, I think I can maybe get us there. You guys want to find out? And you trust in the die, and maybe you nail it. They're there, and you're the hero. You've gotten there on time, and you've beaten the BBG there, and you're going to interrupt all of his plans. Or maybe you ended up 3 miles in the wrong direction, and now you're trudging through forest, and it's a race against time.
Yeah, and that's like, both of those are really good case scenarios.
Oh, for sure.
And that's why, like, I've almost cast teleport many times. And then I just know that it would go horribly wrong, so I decide not to.
No, it's always fun.
It's just one of those real nervous things. Yeah, I just don't know if I have it in me to kill my entire party in one shot.
Believe me, if you as a player are nervous, your DM is equally, if not more, nervous, because either A, they have to make up a scenario they weren't expecting to on the fly, and they're just throwing out a week of work or 10 minutes of work, depending on what they're really putting into this, and you're just making it up off the seat of their pants. Or maybe, they spend all month prepping for everything, and every single possibility of the universe is already, figured out, and they've got their world mapped out in spiral notebooks stacked in the corner of the shed. But it's just really fun. Because, yeah, I mean, if the whole party dies, it's bad for the DM too, man. It's not good for anyone involved.
Well, yeah, and it's also, I planned you to go through all 7 of these towns before you get here. Oh, you skipped them all. Okay, we'll just use those NPCs another time.
Yeah. You'll end up back there. It's fun side quest.
We'll circle back.
We'll end up back there. Maybe that town is the town that's in front of you now. It depends if you've never been here. How do you know Carlito doesn't live over at the mysterious...
Carlito's a worldly man. He goes everywhere.
Right. They just teleported here out of town myself.
So yeah, my 7th level isn't nearly as utilitarian as teleport. It's much more straightforward, and it is Finger of Death.
Ooh.
It is a 60-foot range, 1 action. You basically point out your creature that you see within range, and you send out negative energy. It's a super cool spell. It's a Constitution saving throw. It's one of my favorite types of spells, where even if they pass, they're still taking some damage. But if they fail, we're talking 7d8 plus 30 necrotic damage, which is just super, super fun. But the main reason why I chose the spell is because of the second paragraph. So any humanoid killed by this spell rises at the start of your next turn as a zombie. And not just any zombie, it's a zombie that is permanently under your command, that follows your verbal orders to the best of its ability. So it's just a cool little bonus. You point at that poor little goblin in the corner, and you finger of death him. No! And now he's yours. So it's just a fun little spell. You get the chance to drop somebody and also get yourself a new little party member. Is he going to be great? No, he's a zombie. But just super fun. Let's cast it twice. Get yourself 2 zombies. Treat yourself.
Yeah, take them out and gain an ally all in one spell. Yeah. That's fun.
Yeah, so it's super fun. Very simple spell, but like I said, one that I like a lot.
Okay.
So 8th.
Yeah, we're up to 8th. We're getting towards the end.
Are we back to me?
I believe so.
All right. So my 8th level pick is Mighty Fortress. Very, very cool spell. The fact that it has a casting time of 1 minute is pretty impressive of its own. And the range, 1 mile, which is insane. But instantaneous, you erupt a fortress of stone from the square area of ground around the choice, the area of your choice. You can see those within the range. This castle is amazing. So it's a fortress with 4 turrets, each one 20 feet on the side, 30 feet tall. The turrets are connected by stone walls that are 80 feet long, creating a nice enclosed area. Each wall is a foot thick. I mean, this is a legit fortress. So you are just popping out a fortress wherever you want. And then, in addition to that, you get to basically design this fortress. You're getting multiple floors. You can have the rooms divided any way that you like, permitted they're the same size. But you can basically build a keep for your entire party, which is super great. And then actually goes back to your little great feast. You even get enough food to serve a 9-course banquet for up to 100 people every single day.
Quite a lot of people.
Furnishings, food, objects, all this stuff, which is really, really cool. And the very best thing about this spell is you just keep casting it, which is really great. So yeah, you want a nice little fortress. You have a place to be for, that short period of time. But if you've got yourself a week to kill, so,
sure, who doesn't?
You've got a week before you have to go after this big bad. Or maybe, you're in between campaigns, right?
Right.
You cast this spell every day, the same spot, for 7 days, and it becomes permanent. So
that's fun.
You get yourself this massive fortress with keeps, rooms for all of your friends. All you have to do is have a plot of land. And now you have a permanent home. Sure, it's going to take you a week. But, I mean, if you've got nothing else going on, who doesn't want their own fortress?
I mean, typically, I've heard that fortresses take longer to build than a week anyway. Not to mention, day one, you're in it.
Yeah, you're in it day one. You're
just,
already sleeping.
You just got to commit a week to having it, and boom, your characters have a place to call home.
Yeah,
like you said, in between campaigns or missions, that's fun.
And this is like squad goals,
right?
You're building your little thing. You don't all just want to part ways after you get the bad guy. You want to become a family. You want to settle down if you can.
Sure.
Have a place that you can go back to. You're very familiar with it, so just teleport back there when you want.
Hey, yeah, it's a good point. Even get maybe install like a permanent teleport circle.
Yeah,
that's fun. Home is where the teleport circle is.
That's why it's my 8th level pick, because you get to make a place to live.
While I do think that's a fun spell, I also think it's shit. Only because...
Well, tell me how you really feel.
No, I just... And it's... Yours is fun, and it's thematic, and I love everything about it. But it doesn't ruin someone's day. And I'm all about that. Feeble Mind. 8th level, 1 action to cast, 150-foot range. You're sniping this fool. They don't even know it's coming. And they won't after you land it.
Well, yeah, that's why it's just mean.
Oh, yeah. You blast the mind of a creature you see within the range of 150 feet, remind you. And they take 4d6 psychic damage. Amazing, huh? That's up to 24 psychic damage. Impressive.
That's all my temp hit points, man. They're
But
just gone.
the cherry on this spell is that they have to make an intelligence saving throw. Now, if they fail this throw, they're done. They just erase them from the game. Now, they drop their intelligence and charisma scores down to 1. They're a mushroom. And I'm not talking the clicky-clacky ones from that show everyone's watching. Like more like a Goomba. They can't cast spells, activate magic items, understand what you're saying. There's no language there. No communication in any intelligible way. They can identify their friends, follow them, the heart knows what it wants, blah, blah, blah. At the end of every 30 days, you got to wait a whole month on this thing, the creature can repeat its saving throw. And if you fail it again... Now let me remind you. You failed it the first time, this intelligence saving throw. Your intelligence is now a 1.
Oh, yeah, you're not going to pass that.
This saving throw is increasingly more difficult. And, good luck. Now, if you got good friends, maybe greater friends, a greater restoration, heal, or wish, we're breaking out the big guns, can end the effects of this feeble mind. But you want to take someone out, pretty nasty way to do it.
Yeah, it's just that's just an evil spell.
Oh, yeah.
It's just evil.
That's why it's so fun.
Yeah, it's just so mean.
Just turn someone into pudding.
I don't have the heart. I can't do it.
Well, you won't feel a thing. Well, if I haven't been talking enough already, I guess I'll keep going. We're down to our 9th level spells. This is our last pick of this conversation.
The big gun.
And I didn't go for the biggest of guns because we're not talking best spells. I'm talking my favorite. And not me. I'm a party guy. Not to party. I don't do that. I'm here for the party. My friends. Mass heal. Action, one of those. Range of 60 feet. Duration instantaneous. Basically, any number of creatures you see within range that you wish to give this to, talking 60 feet area around you, 700 hit points. 700 hit points.
That's just excessive.
Divided between yourself, your allies, Moblin the Goblin, who you turned into a zombie earlier. No, maybe you can, whatever. Your buddies, your stowaways, anyone you want to give health to. Oh my God, 700 points of healing. You're talking the whole party is down for the count. There's a couple players left up. The bad guy's doing his monologue, and you stand up, and you're like, "Not today, Satan."
Instant refresh.
Boom! Everyone is back up to full hit points potentially. This is insane. Not to mention, all players, creatures healed by this spell are cured of all diseases, any effect making them blind or deafened. Now, of course, like I said, Moblin the Goblin, they're SOL, undead and constructs. Nothing from this.
Oh, my zombie.
Yeah, so he's out of luck. Sorry. But Joey the Goblin, he's fine. He was feeling a little peckish, but he's okay now.
Oh, he's feeling great now.
Yeah, he's back up those 2 hit points he was missing. And this is wonderful. This, in my opinion, like I said, there's some 9th level spells that can change the world. This can change the outcome of the biggest encounter your players ever go through. Completely turn around from a loss to a victory in one spell.
That's a good one. So my 9th level is pretty much the exact opposite of that.
Pain.
It is
Mass pain.
It is a much simpler spell with a much simpler goal in mind, and really not one that's in service of helping anyone else. And that is power word kill.
You wouldn't. Yeah, that's speaking of evil spells.
Just 60 feet, and you point at someone in range, and if they have 100 hit points or fewer, they just die. And I think that's why I like it, because it's not just you kill anyone. There's a bit of a gamble involved there. The not knowing where the target lies as far as hit points are considered. Have you done enough damage to the big bad for you to be able to just say, it's your time, and then just end it in one shot? It's, like I said, a very simple spell. You just choose your target, and then you try and kill them.
And did you say there was a save on this?
No. If they have 100 hit points or fewer,
That's it.
they just
condition.
die. That's the only condition. So it's 60 feet, one action, instantaneous.
Mm-hmm.
You point at the target, and you say, you're dead.
Is this cruel and excessive? Yeah. But you mentioned against the BBG, or Big Bad Guy of the Day, Monster of the Week. Yeah, that's definitely a gamble. Because these guys have a tendency of being fleshy meat pools of vigor and strength, and is this the time? Oh, the DM said they were bloodied. Okay.
They're looking pretty rough.
How rough is it? Are they at 101? Am I about to waste my 9th level spell slot on this?
Yeah, this isn't the spell that you just saunter into the room, point across at the throne room, and say, die, and then game over. There's a certain measure of caution on when you're going to use this spell. So it's not just a one and done kind of a spell. There is, like I said, that unknown factor. You don't really know if this is the time to use it. You've got to know when to break it out and when to use it. But 100 hit points is still 100 hit points. And there's also a little bit of flair to it. Because, you're just walking out as my bard, and I just walk out into the middle of the room and strum my violin or my guitar, and I say, oh, this battle's gone on long enough. Just die. And then you end it. So there's just the certain, flair to it, I think. And like I said, that little unknown of not knowing whether or not it's going to work.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not super powerful, no. But it's just a fun little spell. And like I said, completely opposite of deciding to heal all your friends. You just want to kill someone.
Now, speaking of, like I mentioned earlier, that's evil and such like that. Running the BBEG. This is an amazing tool in your arsenal, because the party's wizard's probably got 98 on the best day of his life. He just had a big feast, and he's almost at triple digits, and he walks in.
He's feeling the best he's ever
ready
felt.
to drop the biggest spells of his life, and you just look at him, and you're like, go away now. And he falls over, and your party cleric has a heart attack because he realizes what this fight's about to be. And he's pulling out the stretcher and loading him up and saying, "We gotta go. This sucks. This is a big deal."
Yeah, it's great as a DM, because you can break that spell out and change the flow of battle, and you can choose how that battle's going to play out, instead of just I'm about to get wailed on by a party of 6 for the next 4 turns. You can indeed put them into a panic quite easily just by dropping one target, and then all of a sudden they don't know what to do because they have to refocus and they have to regroup. So I think it would be a cool utility for that, as well, kind of guiding your encounter to a different direction. Yeah,
and it definitely sets the stage, and you can have some pretty cool story beats on that.
Oh yeah, it's just super evil, because you're like, oh, the big bad, he just killed Jerry.
Right.
He didn't even look at the rest of us. Why did he kill Jerry?
Yeah, well. So we got through our list. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that's our list. I'm glad we didn't choose the same exact spells for every single level. Obviously, we had a couple that we were very close on, and we were both very secretive of our lists from each other,
Yes.
making sure not to talk about it at all. I think the only thing that we both said at one point, which was, would anybody really just choose Wish as a 9th level? Because, yeah, that's like the like one of the, I think, easy choices for a lot of people.
For sure.
Would be Wish, just because it is one of those spells that is arguably the most powerful spell in the game, because you can literally change the world.
Right.
Just that little paragraph at the bottom, which is, hey, talk to your DM, because you can literally make some crazy, crazy stuff happen,
Yep.
which... Even looking at the list, I went through and I picked 2 spells for every level.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to lie and say Wish wasn't the second pick for level 9. Wish was on there. It was a close runner-up. And then I'm like, I'm not going to choose Wish. I just put it on there because I know that it's good.
That's the best one.
Yeah.
And arguably, unless you have a really vindictive DM who hates fun and is going to like purposely a fun twist, like a genie twist where, oh, maybe you get what you want, but a little spice, maybe something doesn't go exactly like you had planned. But there's they could really just mess with you. You know what I mean? And I do like on Wish the bit where it's like the DM can just tell you it fails. Like it's what you're asking for is too much.
Yeah, it's just
too complicated.
It's too much. It's too complicated.
And the DM pulls.
Yeah,
Pulls the
we're
plug
pulling
and the
nope.
plug.
Yeah.
No, we're not doing that one. Sorry.
We're going to use my veto today.
Yeah, right.
We're
You
just
should
gonna
talk to me
say
first.
No.
But yeah, I mean, there's definitely some cool things in there. I mean, using the Wish spell to get rid of someone's feeble mind. It's a cool example of utility that doesn't break the game in any way, but something you could do. Like it's like a big heal without you being a healer. The wizard can come here and save the day.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was fun.
But yeah, no, this is, like we said, by no means the most powerful spell in every level, but just the spells that we think are fun and we like playing with, and we wanted to talk about. So
right.
Yeah, it was cool. I like it a lot.
And I hope you guys enjoyed our session 0. We're going to get back to you next week. A whole new topic. We'll see about maybe have some live play at the end. I don't think that'll be an every week sort of thing, kind of just depending on what the topic of the week is.
Yeah, I think it really does depend on the topic of the week, because sometimes, if there's a new rule or something to discuss, that's our idea, is that it's something that kind of helps you see it in actual play, which is a lot different than reading something on paper. And obviously, if we were just to enact out all of our favorite spells in a live play, it would be awkward,
Right.
to say the least.
Sure.
Especially depending on the order, because if I get off that power word kill, you never get to tell me what your 9th level spell is, or you never get to cast it. So,
Right.
But yeah, we hope you guys enjoyed our little content. And like I said, come back and see us again. It should be a lot of fun.
If you enjoyed this and like this kind of back and forth, friend to friend communication style, be sure to subscribe to the channel. We will be posting this to not only podcast services, but YouTube as well. No video, unfortunately, but I just want to give people the most outlets, as many outlets as possible to listen to the content and listen wherever they choose.
And you decide where you want to listen.
Exactly. So thank you all for listening, and until next time.
We'll see you around.
Hey everyone, just wanted to give one more massive thank you from the bottom of our hearts for listening. This podcast is something Richard and I have talked about doing for a while now, and we're super stoked you're joining us for this adventure. Be on the lookout for new episodes every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern. Thank you for listening to True Strike.